Ash Ketchum's journey came to an end with him having defeated Leon in the World Coronation Series and then traveling around the world with his two original friends, Misty and Brock. Sure, him beating Leon was one of the most defining moments in the anime ever, but a lot would argue that the aim to be a Pokemon Master series that aired afterwards was a little bit of a letdown. What was initially thought of as a series where he would go and tie in all those loose ends couldn't have been further from that. We got one episode with Silent, Ash losing to Misty after becoming the world champion, getting a Wilmer unstuck, okay, maybe that one's not relevant, and reuniting with Pidgeot. Point is, we just got a heavy, fillery, and episodic 11 episode series to cap off a protagonist of over 25 years. What if instead we could give Ash Ketchum the true ending he deserved? Pearlshipping is named as a shipping between the two main characters of the Diamond and Pearl series, Ash and Dawn. Pearlshipping's Japanese name, Satohika, is a reference to Ash's Japanese name, Satoshi, and Dawn's Japanese name, Hikaru. Last time I collabed with two amazing PokeTubers to discuss about more shipping and advanced shipping, so you should definitely check those out if you haven't already. With how amazing Ash and Dawn's chemistry is throughout their Sinnoh adventure, fans can't help but ship these two characters. Being nice partners and nice rivals, Pearlshipping is, to this day, one of the most popular shippings in the Pokemon anime, and for good reason. With Dawn being the closest character to feeling like an actual co-protagonist equal to Ash, we've definitely got a lot of content in support of the shipping. With that being said, let's shed the spotlight on 10 moments that best showcase Ash and Dawn's partnership. First we have Diamond and Pearl Episode 3 when Pokemon Worlds collide. Right off the bat, Ash and Dawn's first meeting is probably the most eventful in that Ash without thinking twice saves Dawn from the hands of Team Rocket. And this was just after Dawn saves Pikachu from the same villains. Dawn and Pikachu already have a trust-filled relationship from the get-go, and as they say, the way to a man's heart is through his Pokemon. This means that both Ash and Dawn must have a positively striking first impression of each other, seeing how both of them show a strong sense of justice and put the safety and well-being of Pokemon as top priority. This is probably one of the main reasons why Ash and Dawn quickly became close. Throughout their adventure, Ash and Dawn had fewer disagreements of ideas and fewer clashes of personalities, especially compared to other friendships. It feels like Ash and Dawn instantly understood each other. Their energies just match, they truly are on the same wavelength. Could this be the very first bond phenomenon? And this level of connection will further be evident in future Pokemon episodes. Early on their journey, Ash experiences a humiliating defeat against Orberg gym leader Rourke. After some training, Ash challenges Rourke for a rematch in Diamond and Pearl episode 18 or the Rampardos we watched. To give Ash the motivation and boost to win the match, Dawn puts on a cheering outfit and she and her Pokemon cheer all their hearts out, ending in Ash emerging victorious in the battle. While Ash's other companions have been very supportive of his battles in their own special way, only Dawn would go to such lengths. Now, Gary isn't the only one with the personal cheering squad. Dawn will put on her cheering outfit multiple times throughout the series, proving that her care for Ash isn't only expressed through words, but also through actions. Not only is Dawn always there cheering for Ash through his defeats, but just as evident, Ash also serves as Dawn's shining light during her own life's valleys. When Dawn fails to make it past the performance stage in the Heart Home contest in Diamond and Pearl episode 50, Tag Were It, he cheers her up by encouraging her to join the Heart Home tag battle to lift her spirits up by Zoe's suggestions. And this experience really did help Dawn. At least for a few days, she's able to get her mind off of her contest failure, and then in Diamond and Pearl episode 61, Team Shocker, Dawn experiences the most devastating loss in her career, having back-to-back flops in the performance stage. But this time, Ash decides to give Dawn some space, and the look that Ash gives in the scene is a rare look, only seen during his own devastating losses. This only shows that Ash clearly feels and empathizes with Dawn's depression, and in the various instances that Dawn feels bad or sad, Ash seems to really know what to do to alleviate her feelings. That is a true testament to their hearts being magically intertwined. Speaking of their hearts being intertwined, how about their Pokemon being intertwined? Diamond and Pearl episode 55, Throwing the Track Switch, is not only a turning point for the lives of Weasel and Apom, but it's also a turning point for Ash and Dawn's friendship. Dawn and her recently caught Weasel are training for their upcoming contest battle, as Ash and Apom are training for their next gym battle. While trying to sharpen their battle tactics and combos, it's evident that Weasel enjoys battling with brute force, while Apom loves incorporating style in her battling moves. So Zoe suggests that maybe Dawn should raise Apom and Ash should raise Weasel, echoing what she said in her very first contest with Dawn and Ash, that the contest stage may be Apom's true calling. Are you sure about that? Putting their Pokemon's best interest first, Ash and Dawn do the right thing and trade Weasel and Apom. This episode not only shows Ash and Dawn's maturity as trainers, but it more importantly highlights the trust that they have for each other, with Dawn trusting Ash that he's able to make Weasel the best batter he could be, and Ash trusting Dawn that she's capable of making Apom the best contest star she could be, before they dumped her. Overall, this episode truly felt like Ash and Dawn held a piece of each other from then on. Not only can Ash and Dawn rely on each other in times of fun and sorrow, but also in times of trouble. In Journey's episode 89, The Gates of Warp, when Dawn's Piplup is abducted to another dimension by alternate Dawn, Ash is the very first person she calls for help. And without hesitation, Ash flies to Sinnoh and assertively finds a way to traverse to the other world, and brings Go and Chloe with him to rescue Dawn's Piplup and alternate Dawn's Piplup who got turned into an egg, and ultimately fix the time-space continuum of the Sinnoh region. Even if it means putting his and his own Pokemon's life in jeopardy, Ash would do everything he can to help Dawn. And not just Dawn, but also a different version of Dawn, and I'm sure Dawn would do the same for whatever version of Ash. It's safe to say that Ash's battle style may be a mosaic of various battle styles of friends and rivals he's encountered through his journey, but Dawn's impact on him is on a whole nother level. Dawn is an ever-creative coordinator who always comes up with new battle tactics to show off in her contests. Ash, being excellent training partners with Dawn, often gets inspiration from her combinations. Thanks to Dawn's brilliant mind and Ash's shining expertise, he's able to pull off amazing and game-winning move combinations such as Spin Dodge and Ice Aqua Jet. In turn, Ash is also able to use some of his own moves that inspired Dawn's contest battles, such as when Pokemon eats one of its own moves to power up their attacks. Most notable of all is the Counter Shield technique, which Ash mastered in his battle with Fantina. And this technique transcended to the regional stage where Paul executes his own version of Counter Shield, and even to the global stage where both Ash and Leon managed to pull off this spectacular combination, which has everyone mesmerized. That is the power of Pearlshipping. It doesn't only make a positive little impact to individuals, it catalyzes a worldwide phenomenon in the Pokemon World Championships. Outside of fans, Pearlshipping doesn't really have a big presence or a diehard shipper, but when Lyra joins the gang, she starts playing Cupid between Ash and Dawn. In Diamond and Pearl episode 144, Gone with the Windworks, and Diamond and Pearl episode 145, A Rivalry to Gibbelon, when our heroes get trapped in a room, Lyra asks Dawn if Ash is her boyfriend, then proceeds to ask which one of the 3 boys she would want to marry. Dawn maintains a straight, innocent face, saying that she never really thought about it, but at least now we know that the ship has got the potential to be a real thing. Next, Ash gets caught in a trap-inch trap, causing Dawn to scold him for acting so recklessly. Ash responds by saying he doesn't need advice from her. The arguments go back and forth, which makes Lyra realize that only people who truly care for each other argue like that. Ash and Dawn end their travels with Lyra and Corey in a double battle. Both pairs display excellent teamwork and unique combinations, but it is Ash and Dawn's duo that emerge victorious. Next up we have Pokemon Episode 1, Pokemon I Choose You. More like Ash, I Choose You. In Diamond and Pearl episode 177, A Grand Fight for Winning, when the Sinnoh Grand Festival is said and done, Zoe invites Dawn to come with her to Snowpoint City to celebrate her victory. As much as Dawn would have loved to be with her friend in this monumentous occasion, she chooses to travel with Ash and cheer him on in his Sinnoh League journey. Dawn's loyalty to Ash is further amplified when they stumble across Kenny, and he proposes that if he beats Ash in a battle, Dawn has to travel with him. Dawn never consents to this, but Kenny's Empoleon scores the win on Ash's Weasel. Dawn is faced with a predicament, albeit an easy one. Dawn kindly rejects Kenny's offer, stating that she would first want to support Ash on the Lily of the Valley conference before deciding on her future plans. This further shows Dawn and Ash's bonds, that even with these fun opportunities, Dawn is determined and focused to finish his journey with Ash strong and together. Of course, the time inevitably comes when a journey meets its end, and the people who once ventured through their chapters bid adieu in search of new adventures. Things are no different for Ash and Dawn. After the Sinnoh League conference, Dawn invites Ash and Brock to their house and spend a well-deserved relaxation time. It's also quite rare for Ash to visit, let alone sleep, in one of his friends' houses, so this moment is definitely special. Anyways, at first Dawn fully plans to travel alongside Ash to Kanto, signifying that she really wants to extend this journey as long as possible, and understandably so, because it's been proven that she and Ash bring out the best in each other. But after Buneri's modeling career presents a big opportunity, Dawn makes a difficult decision to prioritize her Pokemon's growth over her own feelings, which has always been the case from the day she met Ash. So Ash and Dawn share their final goodbye, sad for their final departure, but stoked for the adventures to come. They share a final high touch, and Ash's ship sails towards the pearly horizon as he screams to her and her very own mantra, "No need to worry." Friends come and go, and even if you're separated by time and space, your hearts will always be connected, just like the times when you're together. And that is true for all of Ash's friendships with his traveling companions. In one person's most important events, true friends cheer for them even when they're apart. But maybe, just maybe, what separates true friends from the truest of friends is that the truest friends show up. And that's exactly what Dawn did during Ash's most important battle of his life. His final battle versus Leon in Journey's episode 129, A Flood of Torrential Gains. The monumental crowning match that determines the world monarch. Out of all of Ash's traveling companions, Dawn is the only one to physically show up to cheer for him in the bleachers. And no, Chloe doesn't count. We know that Dawn has always been the most cheerful of them all, but this ultimate act of support truly cements Dawn as Ash's realest friend, and arguably the person who cares for him the most. Like, even his own mom didn't bother to fly to Winden, but Dawn did. And that proves that nothing can stand between Ash and Dawn's invaluable friendship. Whether you love or hate Pearlshipping, you can't deny the fact that it is one of the most iconic ships in all of Pokemon, next to the Brave Asagi. I mean, it's one of those ships that doesn't really have any haters, and they even have their own opening theme song. There's a reason why the writers love bringing Dawn back after the Diamond and Pearl series. It's just that her tandem with Ash is probably the best one of all. If you made it this far into the video, I want to say that I truly appreciate you. Give your best friend a high touch, and as always, it's been your boy LUAP, and I'm out. Peace.